Well, hello and welcome to View from a Shed. And who would have thought that the shed was actually in such lovely grounds next to the coast? But I suppose one of the advantages of coastal erosion is that all the time the sea is getting closer and closer inland. So sometimes coastal erosion does have its advantages. So here we are, lovely hotel. This hotel has been closed for quite a long time, and I suppose quite a lot of hotels are going to be closed in the present situation. I technically shouldn't be here because I'm allowed to go out twice a day to exercise and to buy food. I'm not allowed to actually go to a lovely coastal spot and record a blog. But you know what, with the whole kind of Dominic Cummings thing, I'm now able to interpret what I want to do. So I could have driven 250 miles to a nice spot and done my blog. So that is certainly an option. Don't get me wrong, I think social isolation and a lockdown, washing your hands, using sanitizers, even wearing a mask, all these things are important. But if the people devising the policy aren't actually abiding by the policy, then to me that's a problem. So I'd also say it kind of feels a bit weird being out today. I haven't really left the confines of Glenroth for almost 7 or 9 weeks, so something kind of slightly odd about going slightly further afield. And I have to say it's kind of reasonably busy, what with cyclists and walkers and all the rest of it. I was originally going to do some stuff down by the harbour, but there's so many people walking about. I've actually come up to this old hotel. I was last here during the production of East Fife Crusoe, which we must have done about 10 years ago. Did quite a lot of filming in this particular location. I always feel the buildings in this place, which is actually East Weems, it always reminds me a bit of Portmeirion. Those of you who are fans of the Prisoner will probably remember that show. So it's funny, I've come to a nice spot today, but I'm not really quite sure what to talk about. Businesses are slowly drifting back. My own business, we're finding that work's coming in. We're already working on 2 projects where all the interviews will be done on Zoom. I think we'll see a lot of that. But I think the most worrying thing I came across was when I heard that Rolls-Royce are making 9,000 people redundant, because that's 9,000 well-paid engineering jobs. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think the situation economically is probably going to be pretty grim in terms of businesses that survive. And also, unless we have business basically fueling the tax system, then at the moment, although we're kind of enjoying a kind of extended holiday, I suppose, those of us who have the advantages of public sector wages, it can't last forever. Recently heard about a friend who's managing a food bank in Glasgow, and the information I got was before lockdown they were seeing about 30 people a day, and they're now taking 300. I've also read reports of people from east of Scotland, from West Lothian and Edinburgh, actually walking all the way to Glasgow because the poverty homeless situation is getting so bad. So, are there any answers? I don't know. I started this blog talking about nuclear war, which always seemed quite a kind of remote possibility. But those of you who are keeping an eye on the international news, Chinese are conducting amphibious warfare landing exercises, which makes one think they could be planning an attack on Taiwan. There's increased Chinese naval activity in that particular part of the Pacific, and seemingly the American Pacific Fleet has been affected by coronavirus. So all that kind of adds up to a potentially quite dangerous situation. I don't speak Chinese, but there is a kind of saying the Chinese Communist Party have had for many years, which basically loosely translated means they want to reunite the motherland after the century of humiliation. The century of humiliation is the time when, for example, the British grabbed Hong Kong, the Portuguese grabbed Macau, and a whole number of nations basically took over Shanghai. Taiwan is slightly different because that's where the nationalist Chinese fled after the Civil War to escape the communists. But within Chinese political doctrine, Chinese communist political doctrine, and this is also taught in schools and colleges and universities, that one of China's major aims is to reunite the motherland, which will include taking back Taiwan. So, interesting times, perhaps a bit grim to talk about on this kind of lovely day, but basically I'm overlooking the Forth. There's boats, I can see Kirkcaldy in the distance. So I'm afraid nothing particularly funny today. I'm kind of not feeling in a funny mood, to be honest. So you can think on that.